So we'll start to talk about something that a lot of you were waiting since a long time. We call it project linking, okay? So project linking will be very useful for you to reuse your code, for you to reuse your projects. It will also be very useful for you to divide a big project into smaller projects, and you can have an entire team working on the same end product, okay? So we can, for example, like Arsenio explained in the morning, I can have a project just for making inventory. I can have another project just for making picking, another project just for making shipping, okay? Different people working in this, okay? They are actually different Calypso projects, okay? In the end, we can link them all together and compile one single application. So we have a good example for this here. So imagine I have a table with the appointments for my sales guy. So you have to go to this customer on this date, to that customer on that date, and I would like to show that nice calendar control that Arsenio showed you in the presentation, okay? But I don't want to do it like in version 3.6. I don't want to open the other project and start copying things to this project, then duplicating all the code. That's very bad, that doesn't work. So George is going to link to another project. It's very easy to link. So he will look, okay, where's the project, and a normal Calypso project that I want to link myself to. I want to link to this calendar project. You see on the tree on the left, a new project, and everything I have in that project that I have linked to is now available in here. So I cannot edit that project directly, that's an independent project, but I can use it. I can now open this form calendar here. I can just call show form calendar. I can just call execute action set from the other project. I can call a JavaScript from the other project. I can access the database from the other project. It's as if it was a single project, okay? So George is creating a new menu entry, a new button to open the calendar with my appointments. How did we do this? The other project that is going to open is expecting to receive.
He's not here, is it? You're here. Oh, man.
So, what George is going to do is a show form. And you see, I have a new form available from another project. It's as if it was the same project. I just call show form. That's it. It's linked and it will work everything. It will work together. Vamos criar parâmetros, não?
Yes.
So, what we're going to do, so this will work a little bit better, I don't want to open an empty calendar. I want to open a calendar with the dates that I have appointments highlighted, like Outlook, that says, okay, on the 3rd of February, you have an appointment, okay? So that form is expecting a list of dates separated by comma. So George is going to do just a select to the database. It has a table with appointments, and it's going to create a string with all the dates that we want to show in this calendar. This, I think you should already know how to do it, okay? It's a for each in Calypso. It already existed. So what I want is date 1, comma, date 2, comma, date 3, comma. And I'm going to pass that list of dates to the show form, okay? So now I have a variable with a list of dates, and I have the variables that the form is expecting, okay? So I'm just going to pass the list of dates. George is going to because he did date plus comma, date plus comma. He wants to remove the last comma, okay? Or the first comma in this case. Now we can test and see this working. Okay, let's test on Android. So I have two projects, but when George deploys the project, it will deploy a single project to the Android device, and it has everything in it, okay? So it's a single application. So you see the calendar with the dots on the dates that we have appointments, okay? So to link to other projects is as simple as that. Calypso thinks it's only one project. I can open the forms, I can execute the action sets, execute the web services, whatever I want, okay? So it's very easy. Another thing that can be interesting for many of you, so this is a cool control, no, this calendar. It looks good. Let's imagine that I want to sell it, okay? I'm a Calypso partner, I have Calypso, I create something very cool, and I want to sell it to other partners. But I don't want to give the source code. So George is going to open that project, the calendar, and he is going to generate a component. Just a minute, George. You see, this is the project that we have linked before. Another cool thing for the looper. You see that cool calendar control? It's a looper. Another use for it. It's a looper with 7 columns for each day of the week. And then it's calling looper headline, looper headline, looper headline, done, okay? And we have a cool object. So, I don't want to give the source code of this. I want to sell it working, okay? So let's generate a component. And you see there, it's the list of things that I will allow my partner to use. I will not allow him to use the database. I will not allow him to use the action sets and JavaScripts, nothing. I will only allow him to show that form. He can touch nothing else, okay? So generate a component. And now this is the project and it's compiled. There's no source code in there. You can sell this component to other partners, okay? So let's go back to our original project. Let's remove the link. Okay? So now I'm not linked to a project. I'm going to link to the component that someone else sold me. Okay? So, okay.
The project is removed when they do this. Okay.
So now on the tree view, we no longer have access to the project. We're going to connect to a component that someone else sold me, made in Calypso. I'm going to link to the compiled component. Save. And now, on the left, I only see the form that I chose. This is what I told in the component that my customer can use. And now this should continue to work normally. Okay?
Let's test on PC to make it different.
Yeah. Esse, se calhar, vai falhar. Okay? So it continues to work. I'm connected to a project, to a component. I don't have the source of that component, okay? So it's also very interesting for you to create components, to create a community of Calypso users and sell components between you if you want, okay? This is very powerful, okay? For Portuguese customers, I'm sorry for the others, most of you know MSS, the application MSS. We are going to use this to allow you to modify MSS. So we are going to allow, when we create the next version of MSS, we are going to link it to your projects if you want. So I say, okay, when I'm making an order, it will not open MSS window. It will open something you created in Calypso. So you're changing MSS if you want, okay? So it's something that will be very cool in the future. Okay, new topic. Push notifications. Do you know what it is, a push notification? Do you have SysDev app installed? So if you have the SysDev app installed for events, you probably received 1 or 2 push notifications, that message on the top in Android. So now we can do that with Calypso, okay? Just some background also about push notifications so you can understand what's going on. So, push notifications are messages that a server sends, that the back office system sends to our mobile equipments, to our smartphones, our tablets. So, I have a system, my back office, for example, I have a sales team, and I want to notify them, oh, there's a promotion, new promotion, we just decided on this product. Instead of picking up the phone or sending SMSs to everyone, I can send a push notification because they have a tablet with an application I developed, okay? So I have a tablet with an application I've developed, installed. It can be closed, the tablet can be turned off, the smartphone can be switched off, and you see that you still receive the push notification, okay? For this to work, your server, where you have the back office or your web server, whatever it is, wants to send you a message. For this, I need to know who you are. What's your ID? If you think a little bit, it's very similar to an SMS. I want to send you an SMS. How can I do it? Well, I need to know your phone number. I want to send you a push notification. Well, I need to know your ID. It's the same concept, okay? So, when the application is installed in our tablet, it has to somehow send to the server the ID, okay? We are going to make a sample. We're going to put it to work here. And what is the easiest way for us to do this? Well, when my application starts, I will call the function we have there to get the ID, and I will insert it on a table on the database. Online, yes? An insert. So now it's on the server, and my back office system knows the ID of everybody. That's how we did the application for SysDev event. That's why when you started, it took a little bit initializing the application. What it was doing was, it was getting your ID and inserting on our table your client ID for Calypso. This will change for every app, okay? So each application has its own ID. So if I did not develop Calypso, I cannot send notifications to Calypso, okay? So let's see. It seems complicated, but we're going to see it working, and it's very simple, okay? So I want this application I made, I want it to be able to receive notification messages, push notification messages. I'm just going to enable them. Oh, it's almost done. For this to work, well, it's Android, I have to register in Android. They have a Google Cloud Messaging service. You have to create an account, say, okay, I want to send notification messages, and they give you these IDs that you have to put here, okay? They also give you a file, a JSON file, that you can import. It's easier. It should have imported. Ah, there it is.
This guy.
Okay. So instead of typing it manually, I just imported the file that I download from Google web page when I register. They give me that file, I do import, put it there, and now it's done. My application can receive push notification messages. It's that simple. So I only have to tell my server, remember, what is my ID? So let's do that. When my form opens, we'll call get client ID and put it on a variable. And now, I'm also going to get the serial number. So I have a unique ID for each device. It's easier to control duplicates. This could be the salesman number or name or whatever you wanted. Now I'm going to see on the server if the ID is already there. So I'm making a select. Okay, is this ID already in my database for this serial number? Well, if it's 0, it isn't. So I'm going to insert my ID on the database. If it's already there, I'm going to update it. And you might ask, why do I need to update if it's already there? Well, this has to do with security issues from Microsoft and Google. They say, okay, someone can steal your ID and do some crazy thing with it. So from time to time, they change it. So your ID will probably be the same for a couple of days, and then they may decide to change it. So how did we solve this? Whenever my application starts, I get my ID and update it on the server. So my server is always updated with my ID, okay? Remember this, it's important. After a while, a few days, they think, okay, someone stole your ID, let's change it for security, okay? Now let's test. So now my application has started. We didn't see it, but you see on the open form, we have get client ID insert. Let's go to the database. There's the record that the PDA inserted. That's the client ID for that smartphone. The phone number for that smartphone if I wanted to send an SMS. So now your server can send messages to that smartphone. If your server isn't ready, or you haven't access to it, and you want to test, if you go to Calypso, you have here a sample a window for you to test to send a push notification. I'm going to make what my server should be doing, sending a message to the device. We can use the designer to test this, okay? You see? It's working, push notifications. The application that you have for sysdev was done like this. But we have a server that's actually sending the notifications messages. It's not this test environment, okay? Did you understand? I see a lot of... Okay? So remember, we are making the mobile application that's on the tablet. I just wanted to be able to receive messages, okay? It's the servers that send those messages.
You use the Google account for Windows 10?
No, for Windows 10, it's a Microsoft account.
And you have to use Google or Microsoft account, or you have the chance to make your own server on your own site?
If you can make your server on your own site, but you have to implement everything. Okay? So all the checks somehow connect to the PDA, somehow send a message. If it's offline, how do I send it? Are you going to worry with that? Or are you going to use Google services for Android and Windows services for Windows? I think it's better to use these services. It's free. Okay? So I simplify it a little bit, but this client ID allows me to send a message to a device. This, in here, we only made this working on Android, okay? If it's Windows, the process of sending, instead of sending through Google, I'll send through Microsoft, okay? How does my server know this? Well, we should have inserted on that database, on that table, the client ID, and also a column that told me, is this an Android device? Is this a Windows device? Because if it's Android, I will use Google. If it's Windows, I will use Microsoft to send a message, okay? We actually did that in the sysdev hub. We'll give you the source code. So it's inserting 3 columns on the database, not 2. It's inserting the serial number, the client ID, and a field that says, is this Windows or Microsoft? Okay? So my server makes a select. Oh, this is a Windows. Let's send a message to Windows. Oh, this is an Android. Let's send a message to Android. They deliver it. You don't worry about anything else. Okay? Okay. I think I didn't forget anything. Oh, we can do another thing to send the product code. Yeah? Understand?
Yeah, you need to intercept the message.
Yes. Okay. So up to now, we use this in a very simplified way. We just send a message that shows on the screen and the user reads something, reads text. Okay? Let's make it a little bit more complicated. I'm going to send a message to my devices, new promotion, and I'm going to put in extra data. I'm going to put the product code. And now, in my application, I'm going to intercept the message, get the product code, and show it. Okay? So you can, on Calypso, intercept the messages when they arrive on the device. It's very easy to do. Let's see. So I have a new event in my window. Push notification message received. So Android is telling me, oh, there's a new notification. What do you want to do? If you don't do nothing, you get the standard Android bling and showing the message, yes? Or you can call the new function, get message. So, I'm going to say display message, no. I intercepted the message and I don't want Android to show it to the user. I'm going to retrieve a field, an extra field. We're going to call it product code. And I'm going to open a window to the user. I don't want you to show any message. String no type. So now I have the notification message. I have a variable with the product code. We're just going to call show form, and it's done. I've intercepted the message and opened the window for this product. Let's test and hope that it works. See, okay, it's starting. Yeah, okay, so my application is there, it's running. My sales guy is working, making sales, doing whatever he wants. And my server is going to send him a message. New promotion, here's the product code. Puxa para a direita. You didn't hear a pling. Calypso intercepted the message and opened the form. It's that simple. If you want the pling, call play sound, okay?
Or say yes to display the message.
Or say yes to display the message, and then Android makes pling and puts the message on top if you want, okay? So it's very easy for us now to communicate with our team that's outdoor working, okay? It's this simple. Just a little bit more information before we go on to the next topic. So when George did that, the application was running, yes? That is why we could intercept the message. If my application was closed, the code that I have there in the form would not be executed. It's closed, okay? So go to project properties. You see that option there? Save messages when application is not active. So if you select this, you send a notification. If the application is closed, the message is saved locally on the device by Calypso. If the user clicks on the message, your application opens. Well, but I did not intercept the message. So we have a couple of new functions. We don't have time to show them here. we have a function that called push notification get lost messages. So when my application opens, I can go see if some message, like the one we sent, was sent to my phone when the application was closed, and show the form, okay? So the entire process would be, application is closed. I send a notification to the device. I hear pling, Calypso was closed, so the message was saved. The user goes there, clicks on the message, Calypso opens, and Calypso calls get lost messages. Oh, there's a message I just received. Let's show this form again. Okay? Yes? You understood? Did I explain that well?
Yeah. Don't forget to say that we can display your own message, just to finish it up.
Yes. I think we still have 1 minute to show it.
We don't have time.
We don't have time. So, imagine that you have a timer running on the background. Sometimes you do this, no? You have a timer on the background doing something, blah, 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 it's running. And it needs to say something to the user. Oh, I've finished synchronizing, or I want you to do that. You would use message box, yes? Well, you can also call the new function we have that's notification message. So inside my application, I will put a new message on Android system, like the other messages. And it makes pling, and the user knows, oh, there's a message, let me read it. But that message was my timer on the background that sent it to the user, okay? So it doesn't interrupt the user work. It doesn't show a message box that he has to press OK, that he had to stop what he was doing. So in this case, he doesn't have to stop what he is doing. He uses a pling, and when he wants, he goes to see what's that pling, what is that message, okay? So, and this is all locally, no servers, no nothing, okay? Let's go on. How are we? Oh, 10 minutes late. Oops. I'm going faster. I'm going to run a little bit now, okay? So, just some things about debugging with a new version. I'm really going to run. So, can you test on simulator? You see a new button on the top left corner, pause, okay? Now at runtime, I can pause the trace and put it running. So if you have those very, very, very big projects that was always putting things in the trace and it was very slow because of that, you pause the trace, you do whatever you want. Oh, I want to debug this part. Play the trace, continue, and now it's going to start debugging, okay? So, running. There's also a new action to help us debug. It's a debug action. Debug. So, expand the type, please. So imagine that you have a big action set, zoom, lots of code. And you have temporary variables, and you don't know the value of the temporary variables. So you can call debug temporary variables, please, at this point, and also at this point, and also at this point. Then when you go to the trace, you will see the value of the temporary variables in all of those points in code, okay? With the names of the temporary variables, okay? With the names. So, it was stopped.
So,
right?
rerun. It's important to tell that the status is remembered from session.
Yes, it's remembered.
It's after the cancel.
See, debug. Now, at that point in time, this was the content of my variables, the temporary variables. But it can be the global, the local, some text you entered, some expression you entered. It can be anything, okay? Another thing we're not going to show, just tell. If you use a breakpoint, can you put the simulator running, please? Yeah? We're going to put a breakpoint somewhere in there. Run. See, breakpoint, and on the variables window, I can now see the temporary variables. okay? And I can go step, 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 and see the content of the temporary variables, okay? Also very handy. Another cool thing, especially for timers, they are very annoying. Why are timers very annoying in the trace? Because you have a timer running every 5 seconds, and your trace window is like, pock, 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 and you can't see anything in your code. It's very, very annoying. So I can have an action set and say, please don't trace. We're going to trace now for you to see the annoying part. Start timer, tira o breakpoint. So how will I debug my application now? It's always putting stuff in there, okay? So we can just simply say, please, Calypso, do not debug this action set. So we're going to the action set, and we say, please don't debug it. I don't want to be annoyed by it. Okay, now the action set is actually running, the timer is running, but I don't see nothing in there, okay? I can continue debugging. Okay. I see smiley faces, you needed that, no? Well, another thing, you know, this keyword already existed in the previous version. Error action ID. It will help you debug. I know that many of you have logs. You have applications saving logs when you have an error, and you write it to a file or you send it to a server. If you also log this, or if you put a message box of this error action ID, can you do it? You'll get a number. It's the ID of the action. It's like in code, the line number where the problem occurred. So 121. So let's go to the designer. Oh, I got an error. Where was it? We go to the find. And we're going to say, please, find me action ID 121. So this is what caused my error. It was this line of code, okay? It's very useful. This already existed, okay?
It's good to make logs of it.
Yeah.
When you are not actively debugging, okay? So you get an error on a customer, and you weren't debugging, you weren't tracing, so you have no idea where the problem came from. But if you log the action ID, all you have to do is search for that as specific action ID.
Okay? And the find window, we're not going to lose a lot of time, but we added several helper functions for you. I want to find where a variable is used. I want to find where an action is used. You have helpers to help you find things. Okay? I'm going to search for push. So this is where it is used. Okay? And if you already use that option up there that you can use to find things in your code, now if you right-click it, or click it, you have a pop-up to go directly in code where that is, where that option is, okay? That search entry is, okay? Okay, how are we? Still 10 minutes behind. Okay, okay. Sorry, you had to eat a little bit faster, okay? Next time, you eat faster in lunch, so you don't lose. Okay, let's talk a little bit about deploying your applications, okay? We've created an application, we've debugged the application, now let's deploy the application. There's a few new things there also, okay? First new thing, you've probably already seen it, we mentioned it before, is the new Windows 10 client, okay? This is called the Universal Windows 10 Platform. So it means I have one client, one actual application, and it will run on your Windows 10 PC, it will run on your Windows 10 tablet, it will run on your Windows 10 phone, and more things, and we'll see an interesting thing next with Windows 10. So, if you want to test on your PC, Windows 10, you have a new deploy option that you have a new test option. Let's see. if you say test on Windows 10, George is testing on his PC the new client. Okay, let's uninstall it. Because if you install a fresh new version of Calypso, it will not be installed. So let's uninstall it. Now it's already, you can go. So now if you press test again.
Just to be sure.
Okay. Test again. Ah, não pagaste a downloads.
No.
Ainda podes ir.
I'll say no here. So you will not install.
We forgot something.
Yeah.
If you uninstall K-Client, you should remove that K-Client folder from the downloads. This is because of some security things also in Windows. They don't allow your applications to move around in wherever you want to move around. So they only allow us to play with the downloads folder, okay?
Ready.
Okay. So, test. And the designer is telling you, oh, okay, client, the new Calypso client is not installed. Let's do it now. It's a little bit slow.
He's running the shell.
So, it's basically executing a PowerShell script that is installing or side-loading Calypso in your PC, okay? So, Calypso is installing Calypso, okay, your app was successfully installed, please press enter. And now, we can test our application because the new client is installed in your machine, okay? If you choose to, you can install Calypso client.
This happens only the first time. And
Yes,
it's not
we haven't solved this
problem.
small issue yet. The first time you run it, it gives an error because it doesn't find a file. But if you test it again, it will work. We're still working on that. Okay, so it's working on the new Windows 10 client. If you don't want to sideload, you can go to Windows Store, type in K-Client, and you'll find it, and you can install it from Windows Store. Okay? You can pick up a Windows phone, go to Windows Store, search K-Client, and you can install it. Then you can synchronize with MS Communicator to put your projects in the phone. Okay? We are working on generating, I don't know if you know the name, so in Android you have an APK to put in Google Play. In Windows 10, Universal Platform Windows Store, you have an appx file. Okay? It's equivalent to the APK. So we're working on generating that file so you can put your applications on Windows Store if you want. Okay?
I think it's important to mention that this part of Windows 10, like these small issues, this is still in beta stage. We need to refine these little things. So the deployment is working, but as you can see, one or another small thing that we are still finishing it up.
Windows 10 client is still beta, okay? You can use it, test it all the way you want, but we are still fixing some small issues, okay? For Android, there's also a new thing that lots of you asked us. It's the manifest. Now there's new options for the manifest. When you created an APK in the previous version, Calypso asked permissions to do everything. Well, that's annoying. The user has to say, I want to allow you to use the camera. But this application doesn't use a camera. Why is it asking me permission to use the camera? Now you can say automatic. And Calypso will look to your project and will only ask permission for the things that it found in your project that you are really using. Okay? So I don't ask permission for everything. And you can go manually and decide yourselves the yeses and nos. Actually, it's not a yes and no, it's a no. I don't use this. For example, if I go to push notification, go to camera, it's more like camera. If I change camera to required or mandatory, what happens? I put this application on Google Play. If I try to install it on a device that does not have a camera, Google Play does not allow you. Because you say, I require a camera, or you cannot install it. If you say optional, then Google Play lets you install whatever you want. If it doesn't have a camera, well, you cannot take pictures, but the application still works. Okay? So I think it's a surprise. I don't think anyone knew about this. For Windows CE, Windows Mobile Desktop, you had the generate project folder option, yes? Now you have generate executable file. So let's generate an executable for Windows. Okay. So here's my application, an executable for my application. If you had chosen an icon, you add the executable with the actual icon you'd selected. And I can just copy this executable to any Windows PC. If I generated to Windows Mobile, I copy that executable to any Windows Mobile device, and Calypso will work. You see that when George executed it, it created all the files it needed. Okay, you don't need to worry about having a folder with everything in it. Okay, just an executable file, and it will create whatever it needs to create. Okay? So this is an executable, catalog.exe, and if in the project properties you had selected a different icon, this would have that different icon, this executable file. You don't need to create a shortcut if you don't want to.
But for the user, do they see the icon on the desktop, or do they have to go and find headlines?
If you want to put a shortcut on the desktop, you just right-click it, create icon on desktop, and it will have the icon that you selected in your project. Okay? You don't have to open K-Client, select project, click on the button, create shortcut, and then if you're doing it in Windows CE, many times the shortcut did not show the actual icon. Yeah? This happened a lot on Windows CE. So that problem is solved. The executable is compiled with your icon in it, with your application. I just need to send the executable to my
I
customers.
was wondering why it didn't show it up. Because it had the message active saying that the function was not supported. It was in the background.
Okay,
and I was kept wondering why isn't it on?
Okay. So this is now cool. Instead of a project folder, you can have an executable, and it's done. Okay? For desktop, CE, mobile.
Again. So the first time it takes off all the components it needs, and then that's it.
Finally, about deploying, not actual deploying. I already deployed my application. I need to update it. Okay? So my application has been deployed to my devices. It's running in my devices. I want to update it because I made a change, and I don't want to go to all devices and copy files manually. So George is going to create an update button. You already had this before. Remember in Calypso 3.6, you had the synchronize action with an option get project update and update. Now there's a new action for that. Let's create it, update project. It has the same option up there, but it has some cool new features. So I want to get the project update and update. But where do I want to get it from? I want to get it from the synchro folder. Before it was the 2PDA for each terminal had a folder, and the terminal pulled up the file and deleted it. Okay, it was very annoying. Now I can get the file from the synchro folder, and I will not delete it. I will leave it there for other devices to pick it up. Okay? So the synchro folder is a folder that you configure in MIS Communicator. Okay? We are not going to see that because you already know. And there's also an automatic version control done for you. Update if it's different. So I click it. My application goes to the server. Oh, there's a project update. What's the version? Oh, it's the same. Then I don't need to do nothing. What's the project version? Well, it's different. Then get it and update it. Or do it only if it's higher. If it's lower, I don't want. It's up to you. Or do it always. Okay? I think you should use the different. That's the advised one. And you may ask me, why would I want to go back? So I make an application. I install it. Then I create an upgrade. I put it on the server. The devices update. Oh, big bug. Oh, my God. Let me put the old version back in, and the devices will downgrade and keep running as they were. Let me fix the bug, and tomorrow I put it again in there. Okay? So you should use if it's different, not if it's higher. Okay? So it's running there, Calypso, and George is going to the project and say, oh, now it's version 2.0. And now George is going to press F7, like you always did, generate project file.
I cannot press F7.
Ah, you cannot press F7.
This is Arsenia's computer.
Okay. And he's going to use the new synchro folder option, okay? Instead of the old folders. generate. Now you see, remove the inventory from there maybe, so they don't work. So you see there's the KZP file in there for project update, and there's a second file, KPV, it's the project version. That's how the device will know if the version is different or not, okay? So you have two files now. You put them on server, on synchro folder from MS Communicator, and now you can update your project. Oh, new version found, let me get it. So it's getting the new version and update the application. Let's click again, update. Oh, it's the same version, I don't need to do nothing, okay? So version control is now automatic if you want, okay? Much easier. Oof. Wow. How are we? Skip cleanup, software. I will not explain new cool feature cleanup tools. No, okay. So you know that history folder in the project that gets huge, huge, very big, with a lot of versions? This helps you delete things that you probably don't need. You go back in time and you say between those dates, keep me only the first version of the day and the last, for example. So from my project from a year ago, I don't need all of those history files. Give me just the first and the last for each day. And all of a sudden, what occupied 1 giga on your hard drive now occupies 50 mega or something like that, okay? It helps you clean up the automatic history. And you can also have something to help you decide, well, this is a very old project. I used some images. I've updated the images. I don't longer use those images as old. I'm using new. But the old images, you probably didn't bother to delete them from the images folder. So Calypso is telling us, well, these ones in gray are used, but that one is not. Maybe you can delete it. It's not there doing nothing, okay? And also in the files to send. It's saying, I don't find any reference in Calypso to that. Be careful in the files to send, because in this example, the reference to those files is in the database. Remember, I connect to the database that has the name of the files to show the photo. So in the files to send, only delete if you are sure that you don't need the file, okay? Because although the project doesn't have a direct reference to it, the server may have, okay? ML text?
Finish it up, yeah.
No, multi-language. So I did not bother in making this application multi-language. Well, let's do it now.
I need to add the language first.
Let's add Portuguese to this project. And now I have all those hard-coded strings in my application. So annoying, I have to go one by one. Well, I can just use a shortcut to create a multi-language message. I don't know if all of you know, but if you create a Google account or a Microsoft account for translating, the translation can be done by Google Play, by Google or by Bing, okay? I don't know if you knew this. No, you didn't know about this. Okay, so when you have a multi-language application, multi-language, I did it in English. Now translating everything, it's hard. So let's ask Google. Google, please translate this for me. Or Bing, please translate this for me. Now I have a table with all the messages, and I'm going to review. This is well translated, this is well, no, this is not well translated. Let me fix it. This is well, this is well, this is well. Okay, translated, okay? This already existed in 3.6.
Yeah, and you can do another thing, by the way. You know that you can export the labels onto an Excel file, okay? But the good news is if you upload that file into Google Docs, there's a function there that you can input on your Excel to automatically translate every cell. So actually you won't have to pay to translate your file. Because the problem with the solution that Felipe was providing is that while Bing the usage is free, although limited, on Google Translator, you have to pay to use the API, basically. So you can translate from Google without having to pay if you export to Excel upload the file to Google Docs, change the cell content, and upload it automatically. So Philippe already introduced what we are going to see now. Basically, we're going to show you that RFID isn't that big, much of a deal to implement. Nonetheless, there's a cool feature that was developed during version 3.6 that's going to be very important for what we are going to do now. So for some of you, to make an inventory with RFID, you know that you need to be constantly reading, okay, and looking for the tags, et cetera, et cetera. For that, you need to put on a timer. So you need to have a timer on behind, always trying to capture tags, et cetera. So if you don't grasp the concept of a timer, that can be a hard task to implement. So what we are going to do is, we're going to show you how to do it without a timer and just with a couple of actions. In this case, we have a pre-built project. We've done it so that we wouldn't lose time with the small stuff. As you can see, exit button and update button. This way I don't need to put the device on the cradle. I can be with him on my hand, okay? So that's the only thing that we are going to do for now. So I'm gonna open that app. I'll get it, don't worry. So do you have? Yeah, you do. So as you can see, this is the same app that we've deployed before. So Philippe, shall we begin?
Yeah.
So what you're going to start is to create a table on the screen, okay? Just to display the tags that we are going to be able to read, okay? We're not going to put anything onto the database. That's not the point here. Just going to load it onto the screen. So Philippe's going to create a table. He's going to put a column on it for the tag ID. Perfect. That's all we need for our interface. Now, in the opening of the form, Philippe is going to start with something which is connecting to the RFID. Of course, when it closes, it disconnects. This is pretty basic.
It's still called Motorola.
Yeah. Still not updated. And now comes the tricky, the interesting part. He's going to call a function, an action called Motorola RFID inventory. Okay?
Scanner pressed and released.
Yes. That's all you're going to put it all in once. Okay. So let me explain this, please. Then. So what he's just done, he said, okay, I'm going to start the inventory when the user presses the trigger. So as soon as I click here, we're going to start the inventory. It's like if it was the start timer in other versions. So it means that I'm going to be able to read. And when I release it, I'm going to stop looking for tags. That's what's going to happen. Of course, we are going to be notified. That's the last event that Philippe created, which I was hoping that was still on the screen.
I'm showing you. Don't worry.
So just wait a minute then. So he's going to stop the inventory on the release, and when the tag is found, he's going to put it onto the screen. Okay? Can you just go back to the inventory, please, just to explain one thing. So he captures the ID, okay, and he captures the signal strength. This is going to be important later. So go ahead. So he's going to stop the inventory process when we release the trigger. And whenever he finds the tag, he's going to put it onto the table. Are you going to play a sound also?
Yes, we can play a sound.
Okay. So it just fetches the ID variable onto the table, save, and he's going to play a sound. So this is mine?
No, it's mine.
No, this is mine now. Yes. We put it on to synchro. Don't worry. So, exactly, I'm going to update to get that project. Okay? So each one of these pieces, of course, it has a tag, as you can imagine. Okay? So now that we have a project, let's begin. That's it. Now, I would like to point out two things here. First thing, how quick the inventory was done, but most especially, how long did it took us to make the application? Okay? Now, for a second concept on RFID, because sometimes technology offers us the tools, but it's our imagination that understands and can go beyond the technology and see how you can put it into our benefits. Look at this tag here. See? This special tag here. So I'm going to use it, and I'm going to track it down. For that, I'm going to use the RSSI, which is the received signal strength information. Okay? That little piece of information that Philippe captured in the beginning. So, Philippe, can you proceed, please? So, on this form, he's going to pass a variable to say, I want to track down this specific tag. So we're going to look for that 00 tag. That's what I'm going to select here afterwards. So he's going to name the variable so that when we show the form, we pass on the value. He's going to put a label on the screen, and it's going to show you the strength of the signal, so the RSSI value. And this second label is to do something a little bit more cooler, which I'm not going to say right now.
It's for later.
Yeah. So this is just to wrap it up, the interface. Okay? So he's going to make a show form. Okay? When we double click here on one of the tags, and I'm going to click tag 000, etc., he's going to pass it on to the other form. So this is Calypso, no RFID so far yet, okay, in this. So you got the value from the table, of course. Now he's going to pass it on to the form. Perfect. So now, on the form comes the RFID part. We are already connected, so we don't need to RFID connect and disconnect again, of course. And we're going to do the same process. Basically, it's going to do the same thing. Okay? When I press the trigger, we're going to start to inventory. Okay? And when I release it, we're going to stop the inventory. But we will not filter duplicates because we want to, this is very technical, very specific. But basically, this is what allows us to search for that specific tag. So it's going to stop. And as soon as the tag is found, he's going to see if it's our tag. Basically, what would happen, for you to understand, what would happen if he hadn't said here to not filter the duplicates? Well, think about it. If it's not the first tag that he found, and it's different, but he already found, so the system would automatically put it out as being found, okay? So we don't want that. We want them to keep on looking for the tags. So, as you can see, he's displaying the value of the RSSI in the label. And let's see if we can find the tag or not. So he's gonna generate the update, and as soon as it finishes, I'm gonna, of course, update here. Okay, let's update. So in theory, now you wouldn't look for tags. Of course, you have all the inventory done on your database. Now you're going to select to search for a specific tag or a specific item. I need to, of course, identify them again. So this included. So I'm going to, there it is, okay. So now I'm going to go further. I'm going to try and double click with my finger. That's it. And I'm going to look for the tag. So I'm holding the trigger, okay? And as soon as he's in range, okay, he's telling me how close or how far I am from the tag. Okay? And we can make it even better. Of course, it's working, but notice I'm not focused on looking the tag. I'm focused on looking to the screen to see if it appears. So I have to be like this. And I'm not looking for my surroundings. I'm looking to the screen. So what Philippe's going to do now, he's going to beep accordingly to the signal strength. And that's why he created the blue label. Because not only we're going to give the audible information, but also a more visual information that it's not just a number. The label will actually grow or shrink according to how close I am to the tag that I want to find. One little detail here. Why is Philippe making an action set for this? Why is not just playing the sound when we found the tag? Because we want the sound to be continuously playing. So if we say beep, 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 we want that to happen independent of the application being run and do whatever we want to do with the application. Therefore, we need to run it in a parallel process. Therefore, it needs to be an action set, which we're going to say in the beginning, execute action set and say thread mode yes. So it's going to play the sounds in a parallel process. Okay, so exit and, too soon.
Let's do it again.
Don't worry. Do it again now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Why did we make a second time? Because this is set to update always, so that we don't have to change the version. So I couldn't be sure if it was already updated or not. Okay? So, again, I need to inventory the tags again because I don't have them on my system. Okay? Let me pull the stylus. To double click it better. Okay? And now, let's see if we can find So this is either working or Philippe is radioactive.